This deck I'm going to show you has 5 different commanders, who all have their own different strategy and way of playing a game. This isn't going to be me showing you a 5-color deck that has 5 secret commanders, but rather a deck that can have any one of these 5 different colored cards all be in the command zone for a game. But how does that even work? More importantly, let's go over why I thought of doing this pet project in the first place. That's because I've had a major problem or issue with Commander ever since I started brewing my own decks. My handle is the egoist of X and Y, egoist coming from how much I like the anime Blue Lock, and X and Y coming from how much I like the sort of X and Y cycle of cards from Magic. I'm a Voltron player to my core, and with every couple of sets there's a brand new Voltron commander that I just want to get out all of my different equipment and build and run as fast as possible with my pod. But that's when the problem happens. To keep it simple, I don't like having similar decks. I don't want to have decks that share the same majority of cards in their 99. For a very quick example, let's take Legality and Cloud for a moment. Both of these commanders want a Sword of Fire and Ice in their deck list, and how many other Voltron staples like it do they also want? But do I want 2 decks that both have just Voltron staples in the list? And more importantly, do I want to have to buy another Fire and Ice for $50? Whenever I look at the optimal deck list for both decks that I built, over 75% of the cards in the 99 were similar. The only difference being Cloud having some mono red cards and Legality having some mono blue cards. Both had a very similar win line and felt the same while playing it for the most part. So now we have a problem that needs to be solved for me. How can I find a way to build Voltron commanders without spending a bunch on the same card and have them in a sense be different? The solution I found was making one massive deck with all of them in it. And let's start from the top of what the deck is named after, the 5 commanders. These being Cloud, Zurgo, Legality, Kotis, and Tetsuo. All of these cards have a chance of being in the command zone for a game, either by random chance or by having one of my friends pick who I should play. But as I'm sure that you've noticed, how do we keep this a legal deck? For starters, if Zurgo is the one who is picked to be my commander, the other 4 are not in the 99, and there aren't any cards that won't be in his color identity in the 99 as well. How I built this deck is that certain cards are split into different categories, if you will, this being color identity, commander cards, and equipment. Starting with color identity cards, each color is going to have its own group of 15 cards, which would be more or less just Voltron staples or just color staples. White consists of equipment synergy cards, blue focuses on card draw, green is ramp, black is removal, and red is some aggro pieces. And then these color piles also all include 1 board wipe and 1 game changer each, but we'll dive into why these stats matter later. First, let me piece together how the deck works. So, all of these color piles will be used if the commander chosen has it in its color identity. So for example, if Zurgo is picked to be my commander, his 99 will include the 15 card piles of white, red, and black. Now, if we move over to Cloud being the commander picked, he will also have the white and red pile for color specific cards, but we will swap out the 15 black cards for the pile of green cards. This makes it so that all of the monocolored staples like Sigarda's Aid and Guardian Augmenter are in the deck for each commander with them in their color identity, but I don't have to buy multiple copies for all of these commanders. Instead, I just have my 1 copy and now multiple commanders can use it. Each color pile also has 1 game changer, and since all of my commanders are 3 colors, that means that they will all be at the same power level on paper with a straightforward bracket 3 with 3 game changers. The color piles take away the inevitable part of making these 5 commanders in that a lot of the 99 is going to be similar. Having just 1 group of color staples that each deck would want lessens the blow of having to buy 3 Pure Steel Paladins and save my wallet while also getting to build multiple Voltron commanders, which is the end goal. So now that all of the color piles are down pat and you understand it, let's move on to the commander pile of cards. Each commander is going to have 10 cards that only they get access to in their 99. This is where the deck gets very interesting, as this is also where I'm adding to the fun of the brewing experience. Once again, one of my main problems is that I want my decks to feel different, and this is where that is solved. For example, in Cloud's cards, I have Rayev to give him Double Strike, which is also a card that Zurgo would love. But with these commander-centered piles, only commanders get those cards. What I wanted to do is keep the singleton idea of commander, so I can't just put Rayev into Cloud and Zurgo. I have to pick and choose who gets what to add some fun to the deck building around them. These commander cards are also where we try and tie together their specific game plan. Legality cares about auras more than any of the other commanders, so her 10 card pile consists of more auras and aura support that the other commanders won't need. Tetsuo's pile is focused on adding in some game-ending spells for him to get for free, and then so on and so forth for each commander. The fun of this idea, at least for me, is having to decide where these cards go. Every single one of these decks would have won a card like the Buster Sword, but I intentionally couldn't separate Cloud from his weapon of choice, so that's one of the cards I put in his 10 card pile, making sure that he will always have a chance to play it in a game, but the other commanders don't get access to it at all. So now that we have solved my problem of not wanting to buy the same card for all of my Voltron decks with the color focused piles, and have now started to solve how I want my decks to feel unique and random, let's go into how I fully solve the need for randomness with my equipment pile. This pile of cards is the easiest to explain, because it's just a group of equipments that I like and or are powerful that I want to run in all of these decks. It includes cards like the Sword of Feast and Famine, but also some fun cards that I really like Gold Vein Pick, that I would normally cut for staples in my optimal decks. For every game, I would shuffle these cards and then take the top 9. Those would be my equipment for that game. So now I don't have to see the same equipment every single game I play. I get a chance to play Gold Vein Pick that I would normally cut, while also still having a chance to get a powerful staple card like Feast and Famine. The randomness ensures that my desire for something new is always fulfilled whenever playing my 5 commander deck. And so now, the last pile I haven't mentioned is just the universal staples of Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, and Felwar Stone that all of these decks will get, which then completes the deck construction process. I randomize which commander I play with the game, take the 10 cards that they have in their commander pile, and then the 45 cards from each of their 3 color piles, and then 9 equipment that I randomized, plus the 3 staples. Each commander will also have 32 lands that I'll just put in their commander specific pile, and then we have a 100 card deck that we can play with. And now this deck challenge definitely has some tinkering that I want to do with it. 32 lands seems a little on the low end for my liking, but I like that the idea is there. What I really love about this idea is whenever I see a new 3-color Voltron commander that I want to build, I don't need to build the deck from scratch. All I really need to do is get the commander and then pick the 10 cards I want in their commander pile, and then I can already play with them just by getting 11 cards. And then to keep this deck legal, every card is going to be in the same color outer sleeve, but have an inner sleeve with a sticker on it. Each card in the color piles has a sticker of one of the colors associated to them. So for instance, all of the white cards have a very small white mana symbol on the inner sleeve, so whenever I go to shuffle them out, I can sort them properly. Clouds has a very small Buster Sword on all of them to match, so whenever the game is over, I can organize them back into their piles, while at the same time, I'm not running different colored sleeves, where the people I'm playing against think I'm cheating by having different colored sleeves. The idea is something I'm actually really proud of, and I think has worked really well so far in theory. I do expect after some testing and playing some games that tinkering will be done, like maybe lowering the color pile's amount of cards from 15 and upping the cards in a commander's pile just to make the decks feel more unique. My deck list is on Moxfield in the description below, and please view it with tags on, or the entire thing will look like just a jumbled mess. But this is how I made a deck with 5 different commanders.